You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
With paranormal news, views and reviews from across the USA, you're listening to Paranormal Hindsight with Jay and Teresa here on Parasearch UK Radio.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another week of Paranormal Hindsight. I'm your host, Jay, with my lovely co-host and partner in crime,
Teresa.
Yeah, she's still here. So, where we left off last week, with our wonderful guest from last week, we has returned this week, Miss Kristin Lee of the Bellaire House. How are you this evening?
I'm good, Jay and Teresa. Thanks for asking. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're
I'm
ready
doing
to
good.
hear more about the Bellaire House.
I know, absolutely.
Awesome.
I mean, we were just getting into more about the house last time we spoke with you on the last episode, and we're wanting to kind of continue more into about the Bellaire House and your interactions with it and whatever else you want to discuss about it. We're all ears.
Okay, I'm ready when you guys are.
So,
just keep me on cue because I have stories and I get. That's why we're having a second episode.
That's
so
all
much
right.
history.
And if the stories go long enough, we'll have a third episode if need be. That's not a problem.
All right.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think the Bellaire House is so haunted?
Well, there's multiple reasons why it is haunted. I don't think it is, and we know it is. First things first, it does sit on a ley line. And everybody knows that ley line is just a constant source of energy, and it draws paranormal activity. It draws spirits. It draws magnetic pools and all of that to wherever the ley line sits, and the house sits right on top of one. And what makes up a ley line is just a couple of different things, and the Bellaire House has that. In back of the house is Shawnee burial. They're not mounds, but they're actually caves. And the Shawnee tribe used to have their ceremonies back there. And it's about 0.44 acres up on top of the hill that is on the Bellaire House property. But prior to that was the Bellaire House the land was part of the French and Indian War. So that's one part. And then the Ohio River is right in front of the Bellaire House. So everyone knows that that's just that constant source of energy because the water always flows, and it's almost like having, a fish tank pump. You know what I mean? You always have that energy going through it. So with the river always flowing, there's always that energy that's circulating. And the other part of it is, for the ley line, is the coal mines. There was tragedies that happened in Bellaire, especially with the coal mine. Now, there wasn't a coal mine explosion. We thought that for years, and I actually wrote that in my first book that I wrote about the Bellaire House. But we've found out since then that that explosion actually happened in two different places. One was in Benwood, West Virginia, which is right across the Ohio River. So the only thing that separates Bellaire, Ohio, well, actually Ohio and West Virginia is the Ohio River. So, and the other part of that was about 10 miles away from the Bellaire House, and it was called Willow Grove. And that's where the coal mine explosion happened, where it did kill 42 miners, and 2 rescuers died trying to save the miners. But a couple of weeks ago, we found out that coal mine number 1, which Jacob Hetherington owned, did have a fire. So there was a fire underneath of the Bellaire House that did kill coal miners, but we don't know how many. We haven't found that research yet. We're still looking to see how many people did perish at that time. But how we found out about the fire, there was a, like how they have the social sections in the old-fashioned newspapers. There was a social section in there that it was rumored that they were not able to put out the fire, but they had spent $8,000 trying to put out the fire. So they spent that kind of money, trying to put the fire out underneath of the house. So that the Heatherings did that. So that's how we found out about that. That's just the ley line part of it. Now, the other parts of it is just the Hetherington family. There's just so many different histories with each different family member. There was deaths inside of the house, and we all know that deaths can leave an imprint or residual energy, and as well as Edwin Hetherington was a seer. And back then, a seer is just a basic modern day psychic medium. And he would conjure, and he wanted to reach out to his beloved deceased loved ones, like his sister, who was his twin, who died at an early age, as well as his older sister, Lyde, who died in the house. When she died, he became so grief-stricken that he wanted to connect with her. He wanted to talk to her. And we found out why he wanted to talk to her. It wasn't because we always thought that it was potentially incest, but it wasn't. Their father, was institutionalized. So when he was institutionalized, Lyde actually served as his mother. She was the eldest child, so she took care of all of, the rest of the family while he was institutionalized. And then she was left the house, and she was left the coal mines. So when she died, he called upon so many different seers and psychics and mediums to connect him to her. And from what we understand and what we have researched and what the locals have told us is they would come from all over the United States. And Jacob Hetherington was from England anyway. So we don't know how many of his relatives or, sent word that this had happened. And, did anybody come over from England that would stay at the Bellaire House with Jacob and help him connect? We don't know that yet, but we have clues that did happen as well. So then he became so fascinated with the art of mediumship and conjuring and talking to spirits that he dove into it himself. And he was trained in that house by all the people that came to actually become a medium. And then when the coal mine did, not number one, but a different one that he owned, when it did explode, there was another explosion, but not under the house. The wives of the deceased coal miners actually came to the Bellaire House to seek out to Edwin to receive communication from their deceased love and spirit. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. And that's just the history of the Hetherington family. I know I was long-winded, but I had to tell it.
No, that's information you've got to have. And people want to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a lot. There's a lot going on there, and then there's so many different people that have rented the Bellaire House. I mean, I can go through the grocery store. I don't even shop locally anymore because I'm stopped, Hey, aren't you Kristin Lee from the Bellaire House? Yes, I am. And then I get through the vegetable aisle, and 3 hours later, I'm finally getting to the egg and milk and, you know what I mean? So I don't even shop locally. I just go out to Pennsylvania or all the way to West Virginia. So I can get in and get out. But back in the day when I did, a lot of people would tell me that, yeah, we stayed in the Bellaire House and my uncle rented the Bellaire House. Well, who was your uncle? And they would say his name. I was like, well, he didn't rent from me. I don't know who he is, so there's just so many people that have been in and out of that house. And we've also heard rumors, and we can't prove this yet, so I consider it an urban legend, that it was at one time a funeral home. We don't know that. We have no idea. We're still working on trying to figure that part of it out. And another urban legend that we just recently found out about, and we have no proof of this yet, is that there was a man, and I believe his name was Corwin, and he wanted the Bellaire House. He loved the house. His wife loved the house. She would walk by it every day, and she wanted to buy it. And he had asked to purchase it a few times, and they always said no, they wanted to keep it in the family. So he became so obsessed with that house that he went into the water well, and he would put poison in like carcasses of dead animals in the water well. Why he did that, we don't know. But he was actually found with a bottle, and he was arrested. It was his name. Gosh darn it! I think it was something Mick something, McCullen, McBride. I have to look that part up. But I think it was an Irish. It was an Irish name. But they arrested him, but they could never prove that he was poisoning the water. So then we also heard that because he poisoned the water, that a little girl drank it. One of the Hetherington girls drank it, and she died from poison. And when his wife found out about that, she was a mess, because they had lost their daughter. Their daughter had died prior to this little girl dying. So the wife went to the Hetheringtons, and she confessed what she thought. She couldn't prove that her husband did it, but she saw it, and she was crying, and they finally let her in the house, and she was finally able to see what the house looked like. And she went home, and she went to bed, and she never woke up. But the Hetheringtons, when she told them what she thought her husband did, I don't know who did it, but back in the day, and we have proof that there were black sages, there were black sage witches that lived on the river. So we don't know, and this is the legend, I don't know which Hetherington went to the black sages, but someone in that house, in that family, because they killed the daughter and they had a confession, went to the black sages and bound by curse Corwin to that land forever. So that's another part that we're looking into as well. Yeah, there's a lot of going on. You know, a team just came through this weekend. They spent the whole weekend there, and they said, yeah, we ate at Riga's restaurant, and it's just a local mom and pop's restaurant. Really great food, great people. The actual chief of police, his wife owns it. Really great, awesome people. And they came in and they said, yeah, we ate at Riga's. And I was like, oh, that's great. I was like, so we asked her what they thought about the Bellaire House, and I guess she said the whole damn town's haunted. So people are finally starting to come out and actually tell the stories that have been swept under the rug for centuries. And this is really cool, you know, so we are finally getting some support from the locals. So that's like business locals. So that's really cool.
That's really good.
I wanted to share that with you. Yeah, because we weren't. I mean, back in the day when we first started this in, 2008, 2009, I was called everything under the sun. I was called a Satan worshiper, a baby killer, it's like, because they didn't understand what we were doing, they just didn't get that paranormal wasn't a Satanist thing. It wasn't like that. It's just, we're studying afterlife. We're studying spirit. And finally I really am so stoked about this, because they're finally becoming educated, and that fear, you can just see that fear diminishing from them to where they're allowing themselves to become more open. And if more people become open, we're going to gather more information. You know what I mean? And that's going to be super cool.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to get to this year. I know we're making it this year come Hades or high water.
Well,
yeah.
What's bad is it's not that far for us.
3 or 4 hour drive.
What did it take
it's about a 3 hour. It took me about 3 hours
Yeah.
to get to you guys. Yeah. Yep.
See,
it's not that bad.
I keep telling you, there's no excuse. We've drove farther than that to investigate before, and here this is a wonderful location right here in our own state.
I know.
And you've not let me go yet.
Oh, don't you be blaming me.
It's all her fault, Kristin. It's all her fault, I'm telling you. So, with that kind of a history, and that's even just the tip of the iceberg, isn't it?
I think that's all of it. Honestly, I think that's all of it. I could be more. Something else might come out here later on. Just what my mind's going through right now. I think that's it, but there might be more that I'm just not thinking of right now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because with the history that you personally have had alone with it, let alone all that history there with it, that's a lot of contained inside your mind, especially with everything else that you got going on. It's not like you It's like you just sit around all day and just think about the Bellaire House.
No, I don't. No, No, I sit around sometimes and wonder who's going to do the dishes in the sink. You know, is it whose turn is it? But nobody ever comes forth. So here I am at the kitchen sink every day doing dishes. You know.
Right? Now, what if somebody were to come to do an overnight there? What are some of the things that they could expect?
Well, what I have seen time and time and time again, and personally have had happen to me, it's a drain. It is a physical drain. Like, you can go in there all hyped up and excited, and you maybe have had a good 8 hours sleep. You've eaten something really great, and you're ready to go. And about 3 hours in the house, you're on the couch or laying down or just ready to go to sleep. That's what the spirits do. Now, not all of them, but most of them. Because we don't know how many spirits are in there. Because of the ley line, it's just like a paranormal playground. It's a swinging door of activity of different spirits that come through. You know, people stop in. You know, we don't know. We just don't know. But they feed off of our energy in order to communicate with us and gain their energy so they can, you know, communicate and do what else it is that they do. So they do utilize our physiological body as a tool to gain energy.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't realize, and I'm bad for it. I go into places all the time, and I got a bad habit of doing it. And it sounds like I better not. But I tell them that they can use my energy, they can touch me, they can scratch me, they can do anything. The only thing I tell them all the time is you can do anything that you want to get my attention or have contact with me, but you cannot possess me. That one I do not allow.
Right.
And I'm like, hearing the stories about the activity there, I'm like, go ahead and open up your mouth like that again, dummy. That might just get your ass in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, we have people that have submitted pictures of them being scratched, and there's red marks on the website. It's the BellaireHouse.webs.com. At the very bottom of the front page, there is a video with Eyes of the Paranormal, Ashley Anthony. She is in the altar room. We call that the altar room. And she was scratched on the fainting couch. And when she pulled her shirt up, it was live. There was no editing. It was just live. You could actually see that scratch that appeared on her. But we've had people submit pictures.
Did you say the fainting couch?
A fainting couch, like an old 1800s fainting couch. Yes.
Okay.
We have one. Yeah, it's that green couch that's upstairs. It's in the office now. Well, not office. That was my office. I called it the office, but it's the room going up to the attic. And then, gosh darn, now this reminds me of this. Okay, so there was a family that lived there. Thank you. Thanks for that memory. There was a family that lived there for years. I'm probably more than 20 years, I would say. And back in the day, when you went to school in Bellaire, when you went to the high school and stuff, the football field is maybe 3 blocks from my house. So Friday night comes, and if you lived out in the country, you know, back then a lot of moms didn't drive. So the kids would just spend the night at their friend's house. And the Bellaire House was always big, and they had a lot of kids. So this one lady named Rhett, she used to always stay and hang out at the Bellaire House. It was her second home. And in that back bedroom, which we call the Edwin Hetherington room, the master bedroom, she clearly, and I didn't know about this, she was quiet for years. And then finally this past summer, she came out and she messaged me about her experiences there. And my mouth just like hit the desk. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what happened to me. And just for her to confirm that was insane. So she was asleep, and her friend was asleep on the other bed, and she woke up, but she was levitated up to the ceiling looking down at her friend. And she said, I saw the black and white TV in the corner, and all I could do, she said, I couldn't get myself. She's like, I was like pulled, and I was forced, and I couldn't move. And she's like, I was paralyzed, but she said, I was above myself. She was above everyone. Now that above everyone didn't happen to me. I did not levitate, but I clearly, what the last straw on the camel's back for me was that paralysis in that back bedroom and not being able to move. And my dog, Bella, just trying to protect me and barking and scratching and just going insane, trying to release me. Then she was thrown up against the wall, and she was just slammed up against the wall. And that at that point in time, I knew that this wasn't psychological. I didn't make this up. I wasn't seeing things because Bella, her leg was hurt. You know what I'm saying? So there was a physical evidence that this happened. And that's what really just clicked for me. But also Rhett had told me that in the bathroom, she was locked in that bathroom for hours. Like she was screaming and crying and knocking and slamming and nobody could hear her. And we sat in the living room when she actually came down to the Bellaire House, and it had been 20, 30 years since she'd been there. And it was very emotional for her. And we walked upstairs and she went back to that bedroom and she's like, oh my God, this is exactly what it looked like. And she said, this was their room and this was this room. And so with her memories, I was able to piece some of the pictures in my mind together on how that family lived. And then she walked in out of the master bedroom and into the bathroom, and she grabbed the doorknob. She's like, it's the exact same doorknob. And she went in and she closed the door and she was in there by herself. That was just the most powerful. It was just so powerful because she overcame that. It's taken her all of these years to actually step foot in that house and face that. And she faced it. And she was able to face that with me. So that was, we were crying. It was just, not in the house, of course, but outside, because you can't have any emotion inside that house. None. You have to walk in, poker face, flat line of any kind of emotion, and just have that spiritual warrior shield on you. But yeah, that when that was a very profound story. So that's part of the history too, Jay. I did forget about that, but that's more modern than it is like late 18 to early 1900s.
Now, you say you have to go in without showing any emotion. Why is
Mm-hmm.
that?
Well, whatever is in there that's inhuman, it will use it against you. It will make you trust it, and it will just overtake you. It'll overtake your whole entire physical. So, and a great example of that, when we first reopened the house, after the last renters left, Bishop James Long came in, and he's an exorcist. He's been all over TV. You guys know who Bishop is, but maybe the audience doesn't. But he came in, and he had the ovulus in the back in that master bedroom. And prior to him coming, we had to get my son situated, and my husband drove in. He's like, I dropped Lane off at Grandma Honey's, and I got him his pillow, and I said, did you get his pills? Because he takes vitamin D and C and B, all that kind of vitamins. Mm-hmm. And after that, we had a conversation about me and Lane and Daniel right in the front. So later that night on the ovulus, it was actually spatting out the conversation that Daniel and I were having through the ovulus. And it was the audience that was there, the guests that were there, it was actually calling out the names of their deceased loved ones. And it started saying things about my husband, like Aquarius, drummer, Daniel. I was like, oh my God. And that was the first time I'd been in the house in years. You know what I mean? Years. And I knew that the activity was at its peak. I knew it was, because nobody was cleansing it. Nobody was doing anything. The renters didn't know how to do that. They weren't paranormal. They were very mundane. So it was almost like, being that biblical Daniel being thrown into the lion pit. That's exactly what I felt like we were facing at that point. But I was at the same time, I was calm too, because I'm standing right beside Bishop James Long, an exorcist. So if anything was going to go down, I knew he would take care of it. So
Right.
all of that stuff was good. You know what I mean? That was very, I felt protected. But it was strange because Bishop and I kind of sat in that room together. Everybody went out and they went about themselves to investigate throughout the house. And it was just he and I. And Bella had her puppies in there. And that's a weird story too. There's just so many different things that that old saying, you can't make that crap up.
Right.
This is the one of them. This is absolutely one of them. So every night at like 3:00 in the morning, Bella would go to the window in the foyer, and she would stand there, and she would, kind of perch herself up on the ledge, and scratch at the window. This went on for days. And I went downstairs to shower because at that point it was just Bella and I in the house. All the family had left. One by one, they just left. But I went downstairs to shower because back then the basement had a shower. And I opened up the door to let Bella out to run before I went to get my shower. And I saw this big black dog. I thought it was a big black dog in the yard. And they were doing it. So I didn't know. So that night, like nights later, I can hear something on the front porch. And I just think, well, I wonder what's on the front porch. Maybe it's a raccoon, maybe it's a cat. And Bella's out there, really wanting to get outside. And I open up the door and there's this big black wolf. It was a wolf. And it was on my front porch. And I was like, oh, my God, I am going to die right now. I thought I was going to die. And I thought Bella was going to, attack it. But she didn't. She went over and she laid down, and it laid down behind her. And they just kind of cuddled up on the porch. And I at that point, I knew that she was okay. So I closed the door, and I'm freaking out inside the house. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm calling my friend, Andra. And I'm like, you're never going to believe this. Can you come over here?
But be careful when you approach.
Oh
yeah.
My God.
So my buddy Ryan comes over, I don't know, months later. It was like May. It was in May. And he said to me, we were in the kitchen, and he was playing with Bella, and he's like, Kristin Lee, Bella's going to have pups. I was like, what are you talking about? She's going to have puppies. She's not going to have puppies. He's like, her tits are full of milk. I was like, oh my God. So Bella actually, with a wolf. Yeah.
Well, but wolves are not common here.
No.
Mm-mm.
But with her being so close to West Virginia, there are eastern wolves that a lot of people don't know, but they're so rare in this area of the United States.
And especially a black one.
Yeah, and why didn't it bite my head off? Why did you know what I'm saying?
Because
that's
it wasn't
really
there to
weird.
visit you.
It wanted Bella.
Yeah. Bella, I guess she was a pistol packing mama. I don't know, but it liked her.
That's not a bad thing. It kept you from getting hurt.
So Bella was a pit bull. And when she had these puppies, she had 7 of them. We called them pools, half pit bull, half wolves. So, yeah, my goodness gracious, those were just a joy. All of them, only 5 of them actually lived. But I was at work in St. Louis. I actually ran a drug and alcohol program, and I had to go to St. Louis to train. So I wasn't there when Bella had her puppies, and that was a mess. Oh, gosh, that was a mess. She was like my daughter. She was my baby, So Ryan took care of her, and he said that there was a pure white puppy that came out. And whatever was in that back room, it killed it. It killed that white puppy. And there was another one that whatever was in that room attacked that puppy too. And he actually left Bella, and he left all the puppies there, and he tried to take that puppy to the emergency vet to try to save it, but they were closed. And he never did let me see them. He buried both of them. I don't even know where he buried them. But going back to that part with Bishop and I, 5 years prior to Bishop and I sitting in that room at that time, OVPRI and Kentucky Ghost Scouts had an ovulus, and no one knew Bella had her puppies in that room. No one. And that ovulus kept saying, 1, blessed be red dog, 2, blessed be red dogs, 3, blessed be red dogs, 4, and it went all the way up to 7, and it became plural, and it just kept counting like that. And they have a video of that. And then at the end of it, it sounded like a siren, like an ambulance siren.
Yeah.
And it said run, it said murder, it said amulet, it said John. And John was the person that lived in the house with me at the time. So Bishop and I were sitting in that room years later. He has the ovulus going, and his dog was not well. I did not know this. I had no clue. And through that ovulus 5 years later, it said 1, blessed be red dog. And he's like, one blessed be red dog. And then I was like, oh my God. And I'm sitting there, I'm not saying anything just yet. And he's like, you could see him, he's very smart, very knowledgeable, and he's rationalizing this. And he's rationalizing it out loud. I'm like, but Bishop, wait a second. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. But Bishop, and I'm stuttering, so, like the Bishop 5 years ago, it said that. It said the exact same thing. And then as soon as I said it, it said demon, 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 3 times to the Trinity, mocking the Trinity. And at that point, I was like, we got to go. Let's call it quits, because it became too intense. Even though I was with Bishop and I know he could do anything, just do anything, I did not want to know what else was coming through. I'd had enough. And I left shortly after that, but that's always stayed with me. And I still can't. I ask people, what do you think about that? And they're like, what's a confirmation? But what kind of a confirmation? What the hell does that mean? Why is that the same entity? Is that the same inhuman spirit? What are they telling us? That was it a prophecy? Were they forewarning us about Bishop's dog? What's going on with this? I still have not concluded what the hell that means.
No, that's different. I've never heard of that. I don't see how you would. Yeah, that's now the Trinity. I get the saying it 3 times and mocking.
Is Bella red, or was Bella red?
No, Bella's black and white. Well, she was.
I was just trying to think of where they came up with "Blessed be red dog."
I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's what I was just sitting here I was trying to rationalize it out.
I don't know.
Sometimes there is no rational, though. That's the point of it being paranormal.
That's true.
There's no rationality for it. But it is.
I have no idea.
Huh.
Wow.
Well, see, now you got me confused. Thanks.
Welcome to my world.
Right?
I'll get over there soon, I promise. Says Teresa quits being chicken. No, I'm kidding. It's not Teresa. I was kidding. God, if you could see the look that I just got. Wow.
The death stare.
Now, when people book it, you book it for an entire night? For how many hours can they?
Well, we have a couple different options. It's like walking into a home. You have running water, you have heat, you have showers, you have towels, you have soap, you have furnished bedrooms, a stove, a refrigerator, coffee, whatever you want, it's there. So if somebody wants to book it overnight, we meet them at 5:30. Actually, I've kind of shifted things yesterday. My husband's going to be taking over, meeting teams there from now on. We tried to do that in the beginning, but his work schedule wasn't working, so now it allows him to do that. So I don't have to go back there anymore, unless somebody requests me to go there. But I'll just stay downstairs. I really don't want to go. I'll just be honest. I don't want to be there. Not after what happened, not this Friday, but last Friday. I'm kind of good for a while. I need a break. But we meet at 5:30, and they stay all night. They can utilize the bedrooms. They can eat. They can shower, whatever. We provide them snacks and drinks and stuff like that. And then they get up like at 10 or 11, shower, and leave. Or they can book the whole house the entire weekend, Friday to Sunday at noon. A lot of people would like just to go in and do an investigation, and they just want the bare bones. And then our groundskeeper meets them at 8 o'clock, and they leave at 2 a.m. It's just, we have a couple different things that we do, to accommodate everybody.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
but come April and May, we finally found a very trustworthy, awesome volunteer that does have knowledge of paranormal, and his name is Jerry, and he's going to be opening the house at 4 o'clock for people to come in and just do an hour history tour and to see how some paranormal equipment works. And he'll close that down at 6. So from like 4 to 6, Monday through Saturday, people can come in.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is. That gives people a chance to kind of just come and look about and kind of get an experience with it, get an understanding, especially with just being on paranormal lockdown.
Right. Yeah, and it is aired.
How was it meeting Nick and Katrina?
Honestly, I had built more of a rapport with Rob than anything, because prior to them coming, Rob's the camera guy, but I think Rob's the meat and potatoes of the research, him and Justin. And there's other people that do it too, like legal people and Nick and Katrina. But from my experience, Rob and I sat on the phone for about a week just to cross our T's and dot our I's to make sure all of our facts were straight. So I built that rapport, a very strong rapport with Rob prior to Nick and Katrina. But Rob had asked me not to communicate with them unless we were on camera because we wanted to tell the stories naturally. So when they were there, I wasn't allowed to talk to them at all. I'd have to go outside or go into a different room. And that's fine because, they want it natural. They want raw. And I get that. And I was totally cool with that. But at the very end, when we were all done filming and everything was done, we stood out on the front porch and talked to each other about 15, 20 minutes because Katrina had to catch a plane. But they're very nice. I mean, very nice. It was just really cool. And then Justin, who is one of the producers, he actually linked me to Dan from the Hindsight House. And Dan from the Hindsight House helps me do public events at the Bellaire House. So I don't have to do the public events. He comes down, or his team members or his volunteers come down, and they open the house up for public events so guests can come and they can experience it if they're not on a team. So they were very helpful, extremely helpful. And they're airing us all the time. Like we aired Friday, three different time slots here in the States. So I think the first one was at 7. The next one was like at 11, or no, not 11, 7, another one, and then at 2 a.m. So the episode aired 3 times on Friday. And that's really cool.
Oh, yeah, it is. That's a lot of airtime. And that's wonderful that it brings it in different time slots like that because it gives you more of a chance for other people to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like West Coast people. Yeah, absolutely. And I can see that people are interested in it because when it aired Friday, we had like 111 new likes on Facebook in 2 days. So it reached 111 people. I know that's not a huge number, but that's a big number. For me, it is.
Oh,
just for 2 days. Yeah. So like our Facebook page likes they've probably increased by, I would say, at least 900 to 1,200 since we've aired on January 21st.
Well, I'm still looking at the Bellaire House Tours LLC page. Is that your only Facebook page?
Mm-hmm.
I see now that it's got 3,499 likes. You're one like away from being 3,500.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Somebody better go like it. Somebody like it real quick.
I'll get out your ass out there and like that page now. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, sorry.
That's right.
I'm going to get in trouble for talking to people like that again. Leave it to me.
That's all right.
Oh, I stay in trouble. What's one more day? I just don't even try anymore. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get in trouble. It happens. So, but with all that going on, and then you saying with something that happened that you're not going back, it's nice that your husband, and now that you got some other people that can step up and help you out with it. Now, when I come, I'm going to kind of hope you come over for just a little. I mean, even, you don't have to go in the house.
Oh yeah.
I would never ask you to do anything that you were uncomfortable with.
Absolutely, yeah. I just need to take a couple weeks off, maybe a month or so off. I mean, I really, I'm okay to talk about it now. Last week I wasn't, but because it was still very fresh and it was still like, what the hell just happened to me? Here's what happened. I got a little bit too cocky for that house. You have to go into that house in a very strong mindset. I had to change my diet. I have to change my diet because I can't eat meat. And the way that I was taught and the way that I was educated when it comes to inhuman demonic activity, and I was taught this by Stregoria, Italian witchcraft. When you have meat, it wears your body down and you become a target for inhuman spirit because that meat is not pure. There's always that trace of blood. There's always that sudden impact of that animal that dies, that leaves that residual energy, that static condition energy. And when we consume that as human beings, that goes into our body. And the same thing if a lady is during her menstrual cycle, they should not come to the Bellaire House. We do not allow any pregnant people to come to the Bellaire House. But that blood, like that monthly blood, the demonic forces will definitely wear you down. You will be the first target to go down. And I've seen it time and time again. So, you know, a couple days ago, that Friday, I made meatballs. You know, I made homemade meatballs. I was eating them like there was no tomorrow, you know. It was bad, you know. So when I went into the house, and I know not to do that. Teresa, I know not to do that. I've been doing this for so long. I know not to do it. And for the past like 2 months, all I've been craving is red meat. I just want steak. I want cow. I want prime rib. That's all I've been wanting is meat. So yeah, it could be an iron deficiency, but I take supplements and I take vitamins. But it was more than that, because when I went,
think that it's actually
the house.
The house trying to get to you. If
Mm-hmm.
you eat the meat, you'll be weaker. I can get to you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, that's exactly what it was. And I just wear my Apollo pendant. I don't wear my temple pendant. I didn't wear my crystals. I didn't had maybe one iron nail on me. But I normally go in loaded down with iron nails. And for the past couple of months, I haven't done that. I just haven't. And I'm, you know, and I even started questioning, this stuff might not even be real. This is just this hocus pocus. So these things were going on inside of my head. Like it was making me doubt everything. And it made me change my eating habits. So when I got to that top step in the hallway, because I was mopping before the team got there, Goat left me there by myself, first of all, and he knows not to do that. But something happened. Goat's my brother. He's the groundskeeper, but his real name's Jeff, but we call him Goat. He went downstairs for something. I don't remember what it was. And when I went in, I was up there by myself, and I just got done mopping everything up there. And I went in to go into the office to mop it, and I stopped because, like, this sword, like this knife or this pin or this something, like, went into my left temple, and it went out the right. So I knew coming from the left to the right is masculine. Masculine's always left, right is always feminine. So when that masculine force came through, I wasn't able to identify if it was actually a male spirit or if it was in the human spirit posing as masculine energy. But I became very nauseous and I became very sick. And I went downstairs and I took a couple of Motrin thinking this will just kick it. I'm still being a badass, right? I'm still being cocky, like, haha, you ain't got nothing on me, Bellaire House. But when I came home, that's when it happened. And I know I do this every day, every day. I know to kosher salt. I know to put kosher salt in a water bottle. And I carry a jug of it in my car, kosher salt and water mixed together as holy water, and put it on the soles of my shoes before I get into my Jeep. I didn't do it. I did not do it Friday. I got in my Jeep. The jug's in my Jeep. I should have done it when I pulled in my driveway. I came into my house with my shoes on after being in the Bellaire House, and I walked around my house with my shoes on. I don't do that. That's something that I never do. And you can ask my 14-year-old son. He, you know, would come back from the Bellaire House, Mom, who's going to kosher salt first, you or me? You, Lane, you know that's the rules. You go before me. You know, we always take our shoes out and we leave them outside. So I started vomiting. I mean, I was vomiting. It was disgusting. And I did not feel well. And I felt like inside of me was cold meat, like a walking into a freezer, like when you see slabs of cow and pig and just kind of on a hook, that's what the inside of me felt like. Oh, wow. So my friend called me and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm sitting in a recliner." She said, "What the hell are you doing sitting in a recliner?" She said, "Did you kosher salt?" And I said, "No, I'm getting to it." She said, "Get your ass in there and get it done. What is wrong with you? Seriously, what is wrong with you?" And I said, "I don't know." She said, "Get in there." She's like, "I want to hear the water." And she was on the phone with me for an hour while I was in the bathtub. And I didn't take the shower. I did the bath. I mean, I threw it in there, did the bath. And then I started to feel a little bit better. So I laid down in my bedroom and Lane's door opened all by itself. And Lane wasn't home. Daniel was at work. It wasn't the cats. All three of the cats were on the bed with me. Then I heard the kitchen cabinets opening and closing in the kitchen. And that's when I picked up the phone and I called Daniel. I said, "Daniel, there's something in the house." And, you know, he was like, "Well, go check." And I went throughout the whole entire house and there was nothing there. So something did follow me. Something did attach itself to me. And then the next day my sister called, and she's also the founder of our temple, and she reminded me what I needed to do. So I had to brew all these different herbs and stuff like that, and start dumping them on my head. And oh my God, it was a mess. It was just a mess. I couldn't function. I couldn't focus. It felt like somebody had wrapped a rubber band around my head and just kept squeezing it and squeezing it. And I shut down. I wouldn't talk to anybody. All I wanted to do was sleep. It felt exactly like I felt in that house. There was no difference. The only difference was I have cats instead of a dog, and I live in a different place. That was the only difference.
Wow.
It was really weird. Yeah.
But you're feeling better now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like the other day, I laid in the bathtub for 6 hours. Seriously, I did. I was just, and like when my feet got out, like my skin on the feet came out on the floor. You know what I mean? It was really gross. But yeah, I've been doing that every day. I've been using that brew and dumping it on my head, and spending at least an hour in the bathtub in the kosher salt and the different herbs and stuff like that, and then showering afterward. And the skin is so dry. I'm so broke out from salt and lotion. It's just, but it's something that you have to do to kind of combat and clean your shield and remove that residual energy, remove that negativity, you know, from your physical, because of things like that. And I switched my diet again. You know, what's really weird too, guys, is it was Monday night after I'd not felt good, and Daniel was at work, and Lane and Goat and I were here. And I said, well, I don't feel like cooking. I'm still not feeling like myself. So let's just order some pizza. And I ordered a salad. And the guys ordered, you know, regular stuff like chicken and subs and stuff like that. And when the pizza delivery guy came, it was like 10 o'clock, and they didn't have my salad. And I'm like, shit, what am I going to eat? So I called him back. I'm like, well, we're closed. We'll mark you down in the book. And I'm like, shit, what am I going to eat? So I didn't eat. So a couple of days go by, you know, here I am just eating like celery and sushi and Boston rolls and stuff like that the next couple of days, and cheese and nuts and stuff. So we ordered the salad. We ordered from them again, and I was like, since they owe me a salad, I'm just going to get it. Well, and I also ordered a veggie pizza, and I said, can you not put mushrooms on it? I'm allergic to mushrooms. So they come, they didn't bring my salad, and they put mushrooms on the pizza. So again, I couldn't eat, and the only thing that was there was the split lanes wings, and I can't eat meat. So I made a peanut butter sandwich. So that was that night. And then last night, last night, I sent my husband out to the store, and I said, can you get those little like vegan things with the nuts and the cheese and, you know, that kind of fruity stuff in there? He went to Kroger, and they were all sold out of them.
Oh my gosh.
So, and he came home, and they're making like pasta with meat and everything in it. And I can't eat that. And it's almost like they're forcing me to eat this meat. Like there's no other option. If you eat, you got to eat this. So I looked at Goat, and I was like, Goat, can you go to Tawake Pake? It's an awesome restaurant down the road. I said, get me a shrimp burrito. So he said, yeah, no problem. He's like, I'll go get it. He comes back, and I told Jose on the phone, I said, hey, Jose, it's me, Kristin Lee, because we used to be neighbors. And I said, can you wrap me up a shrimp burrito like you always do? Oh, yes, dear, no problem. I love you. I'll see you again. Boom, done, over. Goat comes home. There's steak, chicken, and shrimp in that burrito.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's how bad this thing is messing with me. And it's not a joke. I'm not delusional. It's. I can see like the salad the first time, the second time. Come on, you know they're probably pot smoking pizza delivery people, for crying out loud. You know that. You know, I can see that, but not 4 times in a row.
No.
Not 4 times. Yeah. So I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I've been eating a lot of shrimp Caesar salads. I had one again today and some French onion soup. So I'm good to go today, but it's just like I can't. And that night, that Friday night, after I laid in the bedroom and the cabinets were opening and closing, I literally went to the front door and put my shoes on. I know it's early in the morning, and I know nothing's open, but here I am in my mind, getting in my Jeep, going to a steakhouse and eating raw meat. I wanted it, and I was on my way to do it. And I'm standing on the front porch, and it hit me. I'm like, what the are you doing? It's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing? There's nothing open. And then like, Denny's is open. It's like good cop, bad cop. Like Jiminy Cricket, Denny's, raw meat, dead cow. Like, what are you doing, Kristin Lee? And then it's just like, you have to overcome that and then go back in, sit down. Oh my God. It was just been a roller coaster all week long. So I'm not going back to the Bellaire House for a little bit. It's just, I need a break.
Oh, it
sounds
sounds
like
like
you.
it. It sounds like you need to kind of step away just a little bit and take a break. And Teresa will come over and take care of it for you. She's like, I'm not going alone.
No, don't. Mm-mm.
I
can't.
would absolutely, I don't know, would like to take that challenge and see how long I could, overnight, whatever, by myself. But I'm also half out of my mind, so never mind me.
One person did it. One person was brave enough to do it, and I felt comfortable with them doing it because they're very knowledgeable. It's Mike Simpson. He works for Ghost Hunts USA right now, but Mike Simpson is an amazing investigator, and he spent 2 nights in that house alone by himself. He's the only one that's done it.
Trying it. I really would.
Jay would try it, but Jay's not smart enough to protect himself, and that would worry me.
I wear underwear.
Right. Bring a change of clothes. You might pee your pants. We talked about that last time.
Right.
That's Teresa's job. Rick poops and runs. Teresa pees and cries.
Yes, I did.
Jay just stands there going, uh-oh. Now what? I tend to always get myself into trouble. But I'm better now than when I was younger. Before, I would have went in there with a cocky-ass attitude. I'd have been ready to not call it out or challenge it, but to tell it flat out that, if you want to make me go, you better make me go.
Right.
Right.
But I'm a little more seasoned now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more
like,
hey, let's not challenge what you don't truly understand or cannot see.
Right. It's like the Alanis Morissette song, you live, you learn,
Oh, yeah. And I learned the hardest ways possible, so I tried not to do that anymore.
Hands-on, hard way.
Yeah. So I kind of was trying to get the old ways and take the easier routes nowadays. I know, I've become an old sissy. But it's be like we have our older son. He's just turned 19, but he's just started investigating, and he's absolutely pumped. Now he would be the one I would worry because me or Rick would try to urge him on and stuff. And I'm afraid he would go too far to a place like that because he doesn't really know. That would be a place I'd be very defensive taking him or Teresa, either one, into. But I'm protective of people, though.
Right. Yeah.
See, my thing is
we've
that when I go into a location, I feel like I have to protect the people that are with me.
Right. Yeah.
There's no protecting me. I'm on my own.
So
I've learned, time and time again, Mike McAllister he's the one that I contacted first when I thought the house was, I thought maybe I wasn't crazy. So he was the first one on the case, him and his wife, Amanda. And after we discovered that it was haunted for sure, we would open it up for people to come in and investigate. And Mike and I would just sit in the corner, and the people that come in were like, yep, it's going to be that one tonight. And sure enough, it was always the ones that we kind of looked at and picked out that the house would pick on. There was just stupid people that came in there too back in the day. We have on the website, no drugs, no drinking. Don't come to the Bellaire House if you're intoxicated. Just don't. That's stupid. You're going to be knocked down. And there was this girl years ago, oh gosh, probably 2011, I'd say. She was up in the attic. She was drunk as a skunk. And we were trying to throw her out, not like physically throw her out, but politely saying, you can't be here. She took her shirt off, and she's like, come and get me. Here I am. And I'm like, you took your shirt off in front of everybody. What is wrong with you?
At that point, there's a whole lot wrong.
Should have called me. Oh, why me? What do I got to run my big mouth like a dummy?
You can't help it.
I can't. Yeah, it's amazing. And and believe it or not, 7 or so years ago, we've been talking like this, and I've been like, oh, okay, no big deal. But since we have gotten involved and as in depth that we got so quickly, and then moving into a location like Post Town with all the activity there, and luckily for us, none of us like Bellaire. There it's all playful. It's very well. There's some grumpy spirits. Don't get me wrong, but that's as worse as it gets. Is grumpy. So we've never actually had the encounter with something more malevolent. One time on a private, we had a spirit that was almost malevolent, but not physically. You know what I mean? It was more just intimidation.
Yeah.
And it worked with some people, but I'm like, dude, you just can't. I'm an old redneck. You can't just tell me you're going to kick my butt. You got to kick my butt. So that's what I'm saying with that attitude. That kind of makes me, with Bellaire House, knowing the history of it, it's like, okay, that attitude, keep in check, because apparently something here will accommodate you and what you wish for, dummy.
Right. Right. Yeah.
See, I'm learning.
I know I don't, for the longest time, I thought that paranormal, everything was like the Bellaire House. You know what I mean? I thought that every location was like that because I didn't know any better back then. That's the only thing that I had experienced, like paranormal, putting a label on it. But thank goodness I've learned, that like Post Town, which is an amazing place, and, Hillview and gosh darn, the Emmett House was wonderful too before it burned down. But those are really the only three places that I've been. Oh, the Statler City that was on Paranormal Lockdown in New York, Buffalo. I actually was invited up there to do a huge psychic fair, and I did, and it was amazing. That place is just beautiful. It's like walking into the Buckingham Palace. It's just, I can't believe it. And I was in the bathroom, and I was washing my hands, and my peripheral vision, I saw a full apparition of a lady. And I said, hi, I'm Kristin Lee. And, that's how you do it now. Back then, I would have ran out the door like a cartoon character and went through the window. But, with experience, I'm like, you can come and hang out with me, but just don't drain me. And I know you're curious, and I know that I know that you're here. And she really hung out with me throughout the whole entire day. And it was weird because I had a chair because I was doing psychic readings. And when people weren't sitting in that chair, and my husband was reading right beside me too, because Daniel's very psychic. We would look at each other and he'd be like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, she's here. And like, she would sit in his chair when I had a client come in for a reading. So it went really, it was just so profound, And then that night we're back at the hotel, and I didn't think to say, you have to stay here. You can't come with me. So I woke up like in the morning, and I don't know what I said because he told me the next day. I'd have to ask him. I can't remember. But he said, I woke up and I was talking to someone, and I guess I smacked him on accident, like right in the face,
Wow.
Yeah. All I remember was going to sleep and watching Harry Potter. That's all I remember. And then I guess I woke up in the middle of the morning and somebody was there. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
We're actually coming up towards the end of the show again already. Can you believe
awesome.
So
that's
can
a bad
you
thing,
tell
but it's
people...
good we made it.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew we would make it. I said we just know we was going to make it 2, 3, or 5 episodes.
So can you tell people how to reach you, if they want to get a reading from you, if they want to book the Bellaire?
Yeah, absolutely. The best thing to do, we have a website, but it's real easy too. If everybody's on Facebook, social media, just go to your search engine and put in Bellaire House. It's Bellaire, Bellaire House. And then on the Bellaire House Facebook page is a link to the website. And the website is thebellairehouse.webs.com. And if you scroll down half of that page, you'll find my website, which is highpriestesskristinlee.webs.com. And that's how you can contact me for readings. But at the Bellaire House on the calendar tab and the investigations tab is how you contact us to book investigations at the Bellaire House. We have a Twitter page too, but I don't know what it is. My husband runs that. I can't tweet. I'm not good at that.
I don't tweet either.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
It was an epic fail for me when I tried Twitter. It was completely an epic fail. I totally did away with my account.
Yeah.
So I can't help you with that either.
Nope.
Yeah, Daniel knows how to do it.
Somebody
I'll
does.
have him post it. Yeah, I'll have him post it on the Bellaire House website. Maybe tomorrow.
And I've been sharing out right now on our
Thank
Facebook
you.
page and also on Hindsight Paranormal's Facebook page that you guys have a March 24th. It will be a public overnight ghost hunt, and you will be working with Para Expeditions, and absolutely amazing people there. They're wonderful to work with, very knowledgeable, and it's your chance to get inside the Bellaire House. So go check it out. Go find it on Hindsight's page or on Sit, Chat, and Laugh with the Lynch's page. There is a link to the event page, so go get there and find out all your information. Get your tickets now because they are limited, and you will not want to miss out on this opportunity.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah,
Anyway,
and people can spend the night on that one. They're able to spend the whole entire night.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Spend the night if you dare.
Yep. We try to
I
make it
dare.
comfortable with furnishings and such, but, sometimes you get ran out, so.
Oh, that happens
Yes, it
to
does.
Teresa.
I got ran out of Prospect Place.
Yep. I got feeling you're going to get run out of here, too.
I heard that place is really off the chain with activity. I've never been there.
I've never so unwelcome in my
Until
life
we get
by
to
the
the Bellaire
spirits.
House.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Well,
weird.
Well, the Bellaire House will invite you. It'll make you feel like you're at home. It'll make you feel lovely and comfortable, and then boom, it just changes. Changes.
Well, there you guys go. You know where to find her on Facebook. You got all the web pages off of there. You can contact Kristin also for readings there. Kristin, we want to thank you again from the bottom of our hearts for being with us again another week in a row. That's awesome. And if you need to, we'll do it again next week if you got more you want to talk about.
Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Well,
it's awesome. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Love
We love you too.
Thank you so much for everything. Thank you all for listening, and we will catch you guys again next week on Paranormal Hindsight on Parasearch UK Radio.
You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.